Well, it ended up being quite a snow across the Midwest, the Chicago area, Wisconsin, Illinois. We'll talk in detail about that. Plus, talk about a second weather system that will cross over basically that same area and whether this cold air will eventually wear off across the U.S. All that coming up in this edition of Weather to Watch. Hi, I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. We'll start off by looking at the general conditions, and we have ourselves a big old Arctic high in mid-afternoon centered over South Dakota. Central pressure of 30.70 inches of mercury, and pretty intense. Cold air is heavy, and that is part of why we have high pressure sitting there. And the winds between the high and the low, which is currently sitting north of Toronto, are still blowing pretty strong in Chicago. The colors you see on this map are temperatures, and then you can see the indication of where the wind is going, but not how fast. Obviously, that low is connected to a strong cold front pushing through the southeast at this hour, and the only real warm spots are Florida and in the southwestern U.S., pretty typical for this time of year. Temperatures at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time are only in the single digits across South Dakota and parts of North Dakota, too, and even parts of Minnesota. The readings are still below zero, or not below zero, below freezing in Chicago, or maybe right at that mark, right around Gary, it's 32 degrees. But everything in the northern plains in connection with that Arctic high is pretty darn cold. We'll take a look at the satellite loop this afternoon when the loop is at its best. And you can see the swirl in the clouds right here connected with that low. Remember that lows that deep are also spinning in the upper atmosphere. So that cloud is a combination of all those different circulations combined together. We'll take a closer look at what that is in a second. That's not cloud cover, that's for sure. Jet stream cirrus across the south, and the cold front is very obvious on this map too. At the 500 millibar level. So the 500 millibar level in the troposphere, which is the densest, lowest part of the atmosphere where all the weather occurs. So this map is roughly halfway through that. So I use it, and meteorologists use it a lot because it indicates general flow. It separates warm from cold air. It's pretty good about finding disturbances that are connected to other disturbances at the surface, things like that. That's why we show this. So this is a complex and very fast-moving weather system. We've got what are called short waves. Those are where the lines, these are the red lines, bend, but they don't take up a lot of real estate. So that's a little short wave there over Utah, just north of Salt Lake City. Another little short wave right there, another little one right there, and then a longer wave trough is something that just kind of takes up, like half the U.S. That would be a good example of a longer wave trough. So it's quite fascinating to watch this kind of stuff, but this is a very active weather pattern. This right here will be responsible for a second wave of snow, which we'll detail in a minute. On the radar loop here at this hour, this is rain here, but snow up here, and then it's getting a dry slot of air here. Lake effect snows are probably most predominant there across southwest Michigan and northern Indiana, where there is a winter storm warning in effect for Michigan City and most notably the South Bend area and all the areas around it, with a winter weather advisory around Kalamazoo all the way up to Grand Rapids, Michigan. But that's what snow is going on right now. Let's take a look at what happened and what may happen across that same area once again. All right, well, we'll start off by taking a look at this. For the last day of November, 32%, or roughly a third of the country, has snow cover on the ground. And, of course, a lot of that fell in this area here with that last storm. Lake effect snows are really ramping up. If we take a look at the depth of the snow here, this just gives you a general idea. And unfortunately, I didn't convert this. This is in centimeters. But it does show you where some of the heaviest snow fell. Iowa, right around, just around Hannibal, Quincy, Missouri, Quincy, Illinois, I should say, area had a lot of snow. Generally speaking, this was the heavy snow belt. It's always interesting to watch, too. This is fascinating to me, and the reason why I insist on using visible satellite images because the details are quite astounding. You can see all the rivers in Iowa which do not have snow cover on them. Look at how well it traces out where snow fell while high and even mid-level clouds blow across the top of that. So if it moves, it's a cloud. If it doesn't move, it's snow. And you can see that snow did get into a pretty significant chunk of northeastern Missouri And you can see the Illinois River here through parts of Illinois where the clouds obscure that just a little bit. So let's take a look at some actual observations. So just to get your bearing, here's Cedar Rapids, Iowa here. So we see a lot of snow totals. This was 36 hours as of about mid-afternoon. The Des Moines area had anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of snow. So same with the Dubuque area. We had some 12-inch, 1-foot mark. Very common to have 6 to 9 inches of snow across northern Illinois, even into parts of southern well, as I go up into southern Minnesota, not quite, but pretty close. Anyway, let's take a look at what it looks like in Iowa City, Iowa here this afternoon. Some of that high cloud is blowing over the snow that I showed you, and they received about 6 inches of snow there. In the Chicago area, anywhere from 4 all the way up to 11 inches of snow, pretty common in some of the suburbs. Milwaukee got hit a little harder with 12-inch, 1-foot mark being recorded in several locations. And of course, the snow is ongoing here around South Bend. But as of when I recorded this, we had about 7 to 9, almost 10 inches of snow common across that area with more to come. This is southwest suburbia of Chicago, Shorewood, Illinois, showing the snow cover this afternoon. So that was a pretty good storm, and there were many cities that either broke all-time snowfall for one day in November or came pretty close. Like, for instance, Chicago. It's been 50 years since they had that much snow in one day. Now, there's another snowstorm coming. This one does not look as potent, but it almost falls across, well, at least the same portion of Illinois. This is going to clip more of Kansas City and northern Missouri and extreme southern Iowa, and then get more over into Ohio. This is 24-hour or 48-hour snow through Tuesday morning. So if you're around the Kansas City area, still around Chicago, they'll just get this cleared off when some more snow will fall. And you can see the lake effect snow is being reflected in this as well. Winter weather advisories are in effect from central Kansas up into western Illinois and may indeed be extended later on, even after I record this on late Sunday afternoon, into this area here. And just a smattering of winter weather advisories up through the Rockies and in the mountains just off to the east of Salt Lake City. Pattern change is really pretty evident here on the EPS. This is the weeklies. So this is the European model where they take and look at a week's mean of the mean. So it's a mean of several model runs, and the mean is over 7 days starting tomorrow, the first. So you can just see this long wave trough is definitely being carved out. So much of the country is going to be cool, and I'll show you lots of evidence of that. But if you look at the same model and looking at temperatures, whether they're anomalous above or below normal, much of this area here is below normal, with a lot of that centered across where the snowpack is going to be at its greatest across Iowa and northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Well, on the temperature trends, if we go every other day, so this is Monday, the 1st of December. So if it's green, it's below normal. If it's blue, it's very much below normal. High temperatures will be below freezing from central Indiana through southern Missouri, over into southern Kansas, and wrapping up and going north from there. Warm spots, Florida and the Pacific Northwest is beginning to heat up a little bit, but this really doesn't improve all that much. Now, Texas gets a little warmer on Wednesday, but we have another little invasion of cool air across the northern plains. The eastern one half of the country, with the exception maybe of extreme southern Florida, is going to be experiencing a below normal temperature pattern. And on Friday, this digs in once again. So the center of below normal temperature departure is around Chicago. The high temperature in Chicago on Friday will be 22 degrees, and a lot of temperatures below freezing. Meanwhile, the Northwest is expanding its warmth a little bit, and that's reflected in the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, which starts the day after that last map, so Saturday through Wednesday. So the Pacific Northwest is beginning to warm up, but still a real cool bias from Iowa and Minnesota straight east into New England. And if we just move that a little bit ahead to the 8 to 14 day outlook, not much changes in the Northeast, but the warmth begins to spread a little bit more through this period of Monday. That should read the same one as last one, not Monday through Sunday, but the 8 to 14 temperature outlook. Let's take a look at, there is a little bit of heavy rain, but it's not for several days. I'll show you where. On the 3 to 7 day hazards outlook, the heavy rain, if it develops, would be in the deep south and southeast. This is on the 4th and on the 5th. So we're talking about Thursday and Friday, which shifts to the 6th across Georgia, And also, this same hazard map shows high winds around the 6th. If you take a look at the quantitative precipitation, now this is the next 5 days, but keep in mind this is really the bulk of this is going to fall like Wednesday through Friday. But we're seeing 5-inch totals across southern Louisiana, around the Houston area perhaps, and the red indicates 2-inch areas surrounding that. So pretty good rains. Now, the extended forecast does call for things to dry out across that region, across the southern plains as well, and to get a little wet in the Pacific Northwest, and maybe a trailing cold front in Florida kind of ups the precipitation chances Saturday through Wednesday of next week. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.